Dr. Schein, what beliefs come from the founders of organization development that you believe are most important in the emerging countries of Africa and Asia and South America?
That's really a tough question, because one of the things I've learned about culture is not to make prescriptions or believe how other cultures ought to do things. So I know that what has been of great value in Western culture is what the OD founders called the spirit of inquiry. We should not assume before we actually ask how things really are. So I would hope that this idea of ask before you assume, figure things out, look around you, see what's really going on, be more clinical and empirical, that is the attitude I hope would go into all these other countries. But the way in which they do it may be completely different from what we might be used to in the US or in other Western countries. So spirit of inquiry, openness, and caring about making things more constructive, better, trying to do what we call perpetual improvement. You want things to be better, not just to analyze for analysis' sake. OD is an improvement program, basically, for individual pairs, groups, and organizations.
I just thought of something else. We dedicated practicing organization development 2, 3, and 4 to you, because you were the first, I believe, to publish that expert consultation doesn't work, rather that we need to engage and involve and listen and observe and not tell. Can you speak to that?
Well, I mentioned the importance of learning, and I have to say this was painful learning for me, because when I first started as a consultant, I, like everybody else, knew how a group should work and how things should be. And the most significant experience I had was with a client system, Digital Equipment Corporation, where they were a very unruly, emotional group where everybody interrupted everybody, and I kept trying to fix them by saying, you know, interruption is bad and it cuts off. And they always thanked me, and they always never changed. And so one day I dropped into more of the observer role and said, look, these are smart people. They're not doing this because they're dumb. They must have a reason for why they're always interrupting and so on. Why are they so intense? So then I began to understand that they were fighting for the life of the company, and they were all very bright people who loved to argue with each other, but this was their way of doing things. But they were losing information. So I had this insight one day to go to the flip chart, and when an idea was started, I started to write it down, and when it got interrupted, instead of saying, you bad person, you shouldn't interrupt, I said, I didn't get that whole idea. Could you give me the rest of it? And magically, that shut the group up. Everyone wanted to hear the rest of it. So that was the moment where I discovered that I needed to help them do what they needed to do, rather than impose my model on what a good group should look like. That was really the moment of the invention of process consultation.
Marvelous, wonderful.